Well, everyone, you might be in a situation where you're wanting to figure out how an iPhone 15 Plus compares against an iPhone 11. Now, both these iPhones are very good, but I will tell you the 15 Plus is definitely by far the better iPhone than the iPhone 11 in every single way. And if you're actually wanting to get a pretty big upgrade, going from an iPhone 11, if you're an iPhone 11 owner, to a 15 Plus is actually a very, very good deal. So I will go ahead and leave some iPhone 15s and some other iPhones I would recommend buying this year in the description below. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting up with the outside of both these phones, the iPhone 11, which did come out in 2019, definitely is a different type of designed phone for the most part. So with the iPhone 11 on the front, you were basically getting a 6.1-inch Retina IPS panel. It's a pretty basic panel. There's nothing really crazy going on with it. And it's a 750p display. It's almost exactly as you'd expect because it's just not that big of a screen. It's a very small type of panel. Like, I hope everyone kind of knows that. It's not the biggest, it's a very, very small type of thing that Apple kind of made here because it's just not that great of a panel. The 15 Plus, on the other hand, has a much better panel. It's a 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display, and it's a better panel. It's a bigger panel as well, way higher resolution. You're getting the dynamic island this time around rather than the notch. So that's another really cool thing going on for that specific device as well. And overall, you are definitely getting, as far as I know, a way better experience and a way better device than something like the iPhone 11. That's kind of a given. That's probably exactly what you'd expect. And that's just kind of what happens when you're getting both these devices. So from that perspective, I definitely would say with the iPhone 11, still a good phone for the most part, but the 15 Plus definitely gets a thumbs up for me for sure. I will also say 60Hz panels on both. You're getting a curved side on the iPhone 11. With the iPhone 15 Plus, you're basically getting this curved flat side. Kind of a little bit hard to describe or explain, but it's still a really cool thing you got going on with the iPhone 15 Plus as well. But then we come to the bottom of both these phones. And this is probably one of the bigger differences here. You are for sure by far getting a much better experience and a much better, I would say bottom on the iPhone 15 Plus than the iPhone 11. The 11 has that lightning port, which is great. Still a lot of capability on that device, and it still holds up very, very well. On the iPhone 15 Plus, on the other hand, you are now getting USB-C. This is a pretty big difference, and getting USB-C is very cool. It's a very awesome thing, and that in and of itself is probably one of the top tier features of getting an iPhone 15 Plus. Having USB-C once again is super cool, and that's something that I love seeing on that particular iPhone. It basically unlocks a whole new set of array of features on that particular device. On the back of both these iPhones, it's a little bit of a different story here because, just let me explain for a second. With the iPhone 15 Plus, you are essentially getting a little bit of this is the best way to describe it. The 15 Plus, you're getting the frosted glass back with a dual camera setup. The iPhone 11, you're getting a standard glass back with a dual camera setup. Now, from what I described, you may assume that there's a lot of overlap, but there are some big differences here. So the 15 Plus's camera is much better. I'll explain that throughout, maybe in the later part of this video. It's a much better camera than the iPhone 11's. The back of this phone also feels much more premium than the iPhone 11's as well. It's a frosted glass back. That's basically what the Pro model iPhones had before. And it is a super solid feature and something I love seeing on that particular device. The iPhone 11, I think, still feels and looks very good. Once again, there's not a lot to complain about there. It's an older iPhone, and it feels like an older iPhone, but still, it still performs fairly decent for the most part. Some other things to keep in mind here too. With the iPhone 11, very, very good. IP certification, very durable. The 15 Plus is also fairly durable as well. But the thing with the 15 Plus is that you are getting MagSafe capability, which is a really nice touch on that iPhone as well. So that kind of covers it up on the outside of both these devices. Now, moving on to some other things. The iPhone 11, on the back, like I mentioned before, has that dual camera setup. It is a wide and ultra-wide camera. And although it's not the best camera of all time, for how old this phone is, it still holds up decently well. And that's something I actually do like seeing on that particular device. I think that in and of itself is a really cool thing. And I love having a phone that still stands the test of time. And that iPhone is pretty much no exception. It is a very good performing phone from that specific standpoint. And I do think that is a very cool thing going on with that device. With the iPhone 15 Plus, it is a much better camera. It's a much better camera in pretty much every single way that you'd kind of imagine. So if you're wanting to get a better phone, you would definitely get a better camera in every single way on the iPhone 15 Plus. So once again, a very, very big thing to keep in mind there too. I think the 15 Plus camera is definitely better. The iPhone 11, you can still do 4K at 60 on the front and the back. The 15 Plus having that type of capability with the front and the back is still there, it's still, present. But you're getting cinematic mode, which is really cool. You're getting upgraded portrait mode and depth control, which is really awesome. So once again, it's just kind of up to you. I think the 11's camera is still okay, but definitely the 15 Plus is giving you a much better camera in every single situation. Now, moving on to the software and longevity of both these phones, this is also a little bit of a difference here. With the iPhone 15 Plus, you are going to be getting a longer lasting phone from something like the iPhone 15 Plus in every single way than the iPhone 11. So if you're wanting a longer lasting phone, the iPhone 15 Plus, the iPhone 14 Plus, the iPhone 13, the iPhone 12, those iPhones should theoretically be giving you longer lasting experiences rather than the iPhone 15 Plus. So once again, that's just one of those other things to keep in mind. If you were talking to me and you were wanting like the best performing phone of all time, I would tell you get the 15 Plus or 15 Pro Max, and those are probably the better ones. But in terms of the software longevity, the 15 Plus is going to be giving you a much, much longer lasting experience than the iPhone 11. The 11 is probably going to be here for like another 2 years. The 15 Plus is going to be here probably for another like 5 to 6 years. So keep that in mind as well. Now moving on to the performance side of things, this is also like a slight difference here too. And when I say slight, I mean it's a pretty big difference. The iPhone 11 inside has that Apple A13 Bionic chip inside of it with 4GB of RAM, where the iPhone 15 Plus has that Apple A16 Bionic chip inside of it with 6GB of RAM. So keep that in mind. You are definitely by far getting a better experience phone on the iPhone 15 Plus than on the iPhone 11. And once again, that's just one of those big things to keep in mind. If you're wanting the longer lasting phone, the 15 Plus is there, but also the 15 Plus is giving you way better performance. And that's just kind of what happens. So personally for me, if I'm getting a phone, I would definitely consider the 15 Plus. It's a much better performing device from that standpoint. You're going to be getting, better speed, app opening speeds. The games are going to be able to load faster. The applications are going to load more efficiently. It's going to take up less, power. It's not going to overheat your phone, hopefully, as much on the 15s like we've seen before. But that's a really cool thing going on with that device. So personally for me, when I look at a phone like the iPhone 15 Plus, by far, pretty much in every single way, it's a way better performing device than the iPhone, 11. The 11 is still good, but it's just not as good as the 15 Plus. The 11 is just not even as good as like a 13 or as a 12. So take it as you will, but I'll definitely tell you, going up to one of those devices is definitely going to be a much better experience for you. Now, moving on to the battery life, this is a massive, massive, massive difference. The iPhone 11, even on Apple's own website, like it tells you that it gets 17 hours of video playback. The iPhone 15 Plus is going to be giving you 26 hours of video playback, and that's going to trickle down into every single other area of that device. You are once again going to be getting a much better experience on the iPhone 15 Plus than on the iPhone 11. So to kind of sum up this whole entire video, what I would definitely tell you is that between both, you are pretty much getting a way better performing phone in every single way on the iPhone 15 Plus than on the iPhone 11. I feel like the iPhone 11 is still great. It's still a good phone for the price tag, but I just probably would not recommend buying this phone anymore. And that's just kind of how I feel. I feel like with the iPhone 15 Plus, it's a great phone and it's a much better phone than the iPhone 11. But if you don't even if you don't feel a way about the iPhone 11, then just go ahead and buy an iPhone 12 or iPhone 13 or one of those types of devices, right? You'd probably be getting a way better experience that way than the iPhone, than an iPhone 11. So take it as you will, but that's kind of how I compare both these phones. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.